Hi, everybody. I want to welcome everyone to the first inaugural Soul Goals podcast. This is a podcast that's dedicated to hearing other people's stories. We all have stories, we all have experiences that we go through. A lot of times we go through them very silently and we don't share them with others. But my hope with this podcast is that someone can hear the words that they need to hear to be inspired, to be informed, to be educated on whatever it is that they may be stuck in the middle of or that they may have gone through and they are looking for connection with somebody else with a similar story. So, without further ado, the Soul Goals podcast, episode uno. I'm really happy to welcome my first ever guest here, one of my greatest friends from Nashville. Her name is Jennifer. Welcome,
Thank
Jennifer.
you. Such an
Yay.
honor to be here.
Yay. So I was just trying to think before you came on camera, how long have we known each other? Maybe
Oh,
20 years, maybe?
at least, maybe more because it was pre-kids.
Oh, that's right. I
Yeah,
was thinking about our
pre-kids.
kids. No, you're right. It was before kiddos.
Yeah, I know.
Right. So we
we're
go we
we're
go
old.
ways back.
Yes.
Um, Jennifer has a really intriguing story that I think has become more commonplace, maybe in the last 15 to 20 years than a lot of us really want to talk about and really want to be able to say that this is happening. But it's important to say this is happening. And through the journey that Jennifer went through, I really feel, after speaking with her the other day, I really feel compelled to share this information and to have her share this information because it's stuff that I think newly diagnosed people with breast cancer may not understand. So I kind of put the cart before the horse there. Jennifer, you go ahead and give us your information about the journey that you have traversed for the last 2 years.
Um, well, it started in 2022 with a, routine mammogram, and then you get that dreaded phone call that says, "Hey, we see something, come back in." And then it was kind of a very slow downward roll. There is no urgency.
Hmm.
But then you start the process of going to a breast specialist, going to have biopsies to see if there's a problem, um, more mammograms, more ultrasounds. Um, if somebody is actually going through that process at this moment, it is scary, the unknown, but technology and the medical field has come a long way, so you kind of got to trust the process. um,
Right.
and so yes, in February of 2022 I went back with a um, unusual mammogram. They said, yes, there is something, we want to biopsy it. At that point you kind of are shuffled around to a couple other doctors, because then if you're lucky, because I do feel like that was a blessing to be sent to a breast specialist who that's all they do, that's their focus. um, and then it took me from February until April until I found out that yes, it is the dreaded cancer. So
So that's 2 months. Yeah. And I
that's what I
think,
mean. There's no urgency. It was very much like you just gotta hurry up and wait.
do you find that was, well, I mean, the whole thing has been a pretty difficult situation for you to go through on all levels. I know just because I know you, but
Hmm.
imagining 2 months of, okay, I just want to know what I can do. I want to know what we can do. What did you do in that time frame to kind of help yourself? And
A lot of prayers, a
mhm,
lot of crying, a lot of
mhm,
self-reflection. Um, and really, there's nothing to do. You can educate yourself, but at the end of the day, I'm not like you. Our sister next door is not like me. Everybody's story is different. It's I did not go digging in other people's stories because that was not my story. And I
right,
knew it wasn't going to be my story. It didn't matter if theirs was hugely successful with nothing, or, the, worst case scenario. But I knew that my story was my story.
correct. Yeah.
So I wanted to inform myself, but I didn't want to speculate on how far it could go,
Yeah.
you know?
That's, I've not heard you say that before. I think that's really, really valuable information because as much as we connect with other people that have the same experiences that we do, I think the value that I hear in what you just said is that you're unique. Everybody's unique in that
Mhm.
similar experience. So
Mhm.
figuring out that you are you and not comparing your process to another's process, but rather
Mhm.
taking their information and going, okay, what can I use that's of value to me in my process without comparing?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
when you discovered something was wrong, what was the first thing that popped up? Did you think, oh, this isn't really anything? Oh, I'm really kind of weirded out. What was the emotion that you had when you first initially? Because I think a lot of women that I have talked to in our age demographic they've been both sides of the fence.
Mhm.
Like, oh, this isn't me. Yeah, it's nothing to worry about. And some are just like, whoa, what is happening?
Yeah, I think for sure that first initial callback, I was like, "Oh, I'm not worried about it." I've had callbacks before. It's not gonna be anything. So when it did get serious quickly in that they're like, "We need you to come back and we're gonna do X, Y, and Z," you know, more ultrasounds, more mammograms, more biopsies. Um, yeah, you could go down that kind of scary rabbit hole of how low can we go. Um, I feel like I definitely had that mentality of that's not going to happen to me. That's other people. I
Mhm.
live a healthy lifestyle,
Yeah.
and no, it was right on point. Now I have to say my outcome was beautiful to have gone through this. I mean, I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones in that it wasn't as aggressive as they can be,
Yeah.
and that's probably some of the reason the doctors were not in a huge hurry and their urgency was not in let's get this out. That was another thing too. I wanted to know, like, what are my options?
Mhm.
I know that there are people that are just like, just get this out of me. I don't, I don't want any part of this. I did not have that kind of mentality because I really wanted to know, well, how can I do the minimal to my body and still have a healthy lifestyle?
Mhm.
That so I wasn't in a I did not have that kind of mentality. And I know I feel like there's like 50-50. There's people that are like, just get it out of me now.
Yeah.
And then there's people that are just like, "Well, hold on, let me see what's going on."
Yeah. Are you happy that you did it that way? If you look back at it in that process?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, one of your questions was what could you change? And I
Mhm.
don't mean to skip up there, but
No, you're
I'm
good.
like there were some frustrating things through the process, but at the end of the day, everything worked out.
Mhm.
And I have no regrets
Yeah.
other than, things I don't have in my control.
Right.
Uh,
I think that's another thing that sometimes women that get that diagnosis are thinking, "What did I do? Like, what was
yeah.
in my control? What was it must have been something that I contributed to this because I'm so young." Because, did you care to share your age or did you give an age?
I was 48, right? 48.
48 when it all
Yes,
started for you.
or
Yeah.
maybe I was 47. Yes, I can't remember. I was 47 or 48. I was young.
Yeah. And so
No
about that.
history, no family history.
Yeah.
No, I'm kind of a lone duck out here.
Yeah.
That's weird too. That was I kept and I'm not gonna say had this perfect attitude. I definitely did not. I definitely had those moments of, "I don't understand, why me?"
Yeah.
And like my body had betrayed me,
Yeah.
and it didn't. It's just what it was.
Right. It just happened to
It just
be
happened.
a part of your process.
Mhm.
Um, when you first found out and you got all the pieces of information, I'm curious to know how you shared that with your family because you have 3 children and a husband, children of varying ages, from out of college to still in high school?
Yeah. Um, so Daryl was with me, of course. So he was firsthand for that information. I have to say that even thinking about it now, that was the hardest thing to
Yeah.
actually speak those words of this is what's going on was so hard.
Yeah.
That was the hardest thing for me out of all of it,
Telling your kids or being able to just verbalize it.
verbalizing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, there's a hierarchy of who knows what when, and, you know, it was hard.
Yeah. I know your family's you're super tight. How did uh, how did they take the information? How did they rally with you?
So, that was something that I learned is that people will, uh, take the information the way you present it to them.
Yeah.
So, if you present it in a I'm not worried about this, positive attitude. Your attitude dictates a lot.
Yes.
And, I think that was something that was beneficial to me. There's people that had to know immediately, like my mom and
Mhm.
my daughter, because they were aware of what was going on. So I had to give them information almost immediately.
Mhm.
After that, I paused for a minute because I'm like, I need to process myself without just vomiting all over everybody.
Yeah.
So once that happened and I processed everything, my boys were, it was hard to tell them, but I just kind of, I'm like, I'm not worried. It's going to be okay. I gave them the facts
Yeah.
and I was really positive. And, I'm sure that they had some thoughts and emotions, but they didn't burden me with that.
Mhm.
Um, and they were okay. They were helpful.
Mhm.
Always, everybody was, always very considerate and helpful. And I know that's what, most people want to do when they hear something like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think, I wanna go back to you saying it's how you present it, because I
Hmm.
think with any diagnosis, any kind of news that could be, life altering like this,
Hmm.
and sharing it with the people that you're closest with is hard enough as you explained, but then, your attitude really dictates how it's taken around you and how it's lived around you. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. It
Yeah.
is.
Um, I'm totally jumping ahead. I wanna go backwards in just a second, but since we're kind of in this vein, like, how did the diagnosis as a whole change your life? Like, in terms of your thought process, your mentality, your relationship, the viewing relationships, connection, anything?
Well, it puts things in perspective quickly.
That's like
uh,
yes, yes.
because, from the time you get a diagnosis with little information and try not to let your mind go down that, as far down as it can go, it changed me in that I feel like I first stopped and I'm like, I've wasted my life. I didn't do the things I wanted to do. I didn't treat people the way I wanted to treat them. I didn't love on my
Mhm.
family enough. And then you kind of pick yourself up and you're like, no, I'm going to take whatever, nobody's got a guarantee in any life. Nobody has a guarantee. So
Right.
there's no guarantee. So from this moment on, live like there is no tomorrow. I mean, I know that's such a cliche to say, but do your best life. And
Yeah.
I mean, so much prayer. I think if anything, I got closer to God. I became at peace
Mhm.
with where I am and where God has put me in this world, in this life. And I don't know what his plan is for me, but I'm open and ready for it. And I guess that was the biggest thing is that I trusted that God had me. It's not going to end exactly like I wanted to,
Mhm.
but he's got it. and it brought me closer to him. It brought me closer to all my family
Right.
because they're, it's just it's kind of a wake up call.
It sounds like it was, you found a place of relief almost by giving
Oh
it up.
yeah. Oh yeah. It was the most peace that no doctor can give you
Yeah,
because they have no guarantees. And
yeah,
it was peace that nobody on earth can give.
yeah. And that piece is something that a lot of times people that don't have a diagnosis like you had or don't face some kind of life altering situation don't get the opportunity to. And I'm not
Well,
saying,
that's
oh, it's
right.
great that you had something terrible happen, but when you it puts things in perspective, that's a really big perspective thing for me to hear you say. I think that there's a lot of people that get to the end of their life and are like, oh, I have so many regrets, so many things. That the
Yeah.
things that you said first it was almost like you had that moment while you were fully alive to be
Yeah.
okay. I have a choice.
Yeah. That's right. That's absolutely right. And there's adversity, which then brings on joy and healing. And I mean, it's a full circle moment for sure.
Yeah. So can we talk a little bit about how you went through the process physically? Because I think I know when you shared your story with me initially, I was like, oh my gosh. And I automatically went to, I'm going to call blah, blah, blah. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to get a hold of this one. I'm going to call this person
Uh-huh.
because I know she had this and I'm going to ask her what she did and who she talked to. And I'm going to
Hmm.
give you all that. My mind is just going, fix it, fix it, fix it. Right. But,
Yes.
I,
Yes.
but I do know that you had so many
There were
ups
some
and downs.
frustrating moments.
Yeah.
There were definitely some frustrating moments. So, yes, and you reminded me of that because there's so much I've forgotten. Um,
I'm sorry if I did
oh,
like
no, no, but I did. I mean, I remember the frustrating moments. I think it was the details that I seemed to just like, "Meh."
okay.
Um, yeah, but yes, so from start to finish, you meet with your breast surgeon. She gives you the news. You kind of you go in and you get the MRI to see if there's anything else, and of course they found more.
Mm,
Um, and so at that point, it was a conversation of lumpectomy or double mastectomy. And of course, I was like, I kind of want to. I mean, they're not great, but I kind of want to keep what I got.
got you.
And
Yes. Okay.
so at the end of the day, they it ended up that we went with the double mastectomy. But yes, then you're in the process of meeting with a plastic surgeon who works with your breast surgeon, so they have to be a team. And I think that truly in this process, those were things that were frustrating in that you're trying to I'm not there electively, in the
Yeah.
plastic surgeon's office, and I think that was part of my frustration is, like, I need I need you to hold my hand.
Yeah.
I need you to hold my hand and
Yeah.
and help me along this journey because I didn't ask to be here.
Yeah.
So, that was the frustrating thing, I think, was, you know, being in that situation. So
Having to deal with it's almost like you were the middleman between all of these different points of reference that had to, you know,
oh, yeah.
conspire
Well, I
together.
guess I was the subject more than the middleman. The middleman might have some
We'll go with
say.
that. That's why absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So,
Um,
like, all of that being said, when you decided to have the double mastectomy instead of the
mhm.
lumpectomy, what went through your head? Because I know we joke about it because we're friends and it's like, okay, like they're not great, but you keep what
It
God gave me kind of thing and
yeah.
all the things that we laugh about. But like,
Well,
how did that affect you?
well, at the end of the day, when you're looking all the pros and cons and you're going through it, a lumpectomy is wonderful. I would have definitely had to have had radiation,
Okay.
because I mean, lumpectomy, they're just cutting out leaving everything as is, cutting out what needs to go.
Yes.
So I would have for sure 100% had radiation, which okay. Um, Once they found more on the other side, um, it became a, well, here's the issues that you're going to have to deal with in the future.
Mm.
Your after radiation, your skin, it it will be disfigured. You'll be disfigured. You'll be disfigured. You'll have skin issues because of radiation. And then what if it comes back?
Yeah.
I mean, and I think they felt like your chances of it coming back are pretty good. I mean, it's not 100%, nothing is, but it's still so, you know, it's the way we ended it, and honestly, no regrets.
Yeah.
I I feel like that was probably the best choice for me. I would never um, encourage that to somebody who feels like they would rather do a lumpectomy. I am all for that. You do what you think is right for your body. Um, but I have no regrets now.
Yeah.
I feel like it's it's the best choice I could have made for me at
Yeah.
that time.
When you were in the middle of all the physical stuff that you were going through with the surgeries and the recovery from the surgeries, which is a really big thing because you're a
Yeah.
super active person and you're a super active household that you're from. I, I mean, you couldn't do anything for a bit of time. Tell me a little bit more about what you did at that point to kind of keep your sanity, to keep yourself grounded, to keep yourself present with, not going to go down that rabbit hole that this is, the spiral.
Yeah. So I got all cut up on Downton Abbey.
Okay.
I saw
That's good.
all series and all movies.
Okay.
um, no, seriously, it was. Um, I have to say, you're just going to have to go through the motions of it because, uh, again, it starts with attitude. I'm not going to just lay here and you know be a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm going to get up and I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm
Yeah.
going to do the things they encourage me to do. And I cried if I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
I did because there were moments when my body looked frail and pitiful um and I looked like a freak. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not pretty, but it's a means to an end,
Right.
and it's okay. I
Right.
mean, so I the answer is again, I feel like your attitude has everything to do with it, and
Mhm.
then peace that you bring into from God, from prayer, from the family around you, because that's and friends.
Yeah.
You can't do it alone. You
Yeah.
can't and rely on people.
Yeah.
I know it's hard. I didn't want to,
So
you
for
know,
me, knowing you, you are such a doer. You give so much to your community, so much to your family. You always have since the plus 20 years ago that I met you. And I know how hard, and I'm probably going to cry. This is going to be great. I do have tissues. I hope you do.
if you cry, I'm crying.
I know how hard that had to have been for you to do because you're used to going, you're used to taking care of. Tell me a little bit about what you felt internally about letting other people take care of you.
um, well, first of all, you're giving me way too much credit. I am not that good,
Oh,
uh, but thank you. Um, I I don't know. You just live each day one day at a time. And you just got to give yourself some grace that
mhm,
it's not going to be perfect right away, and it I know it is hard to just lay there and let people dote on you.
yeah,
Um, but you just got to accept it and know that your body is healing.
right,
Accept that healing, that time to heal,
right.
and accept the love that you're being given by everybody around you.
Mhm. What do you think is one of the biggest things that you have found to be most grateful for from all of this, most thankful for? And obviously, it's not something that you woke up and said, "Hey, let's do this today," you
Yeah.
know, but Yeah, what came of it for you
Oh my
on that
gosh.
level?
I would say I'm so grateful for my deeper relationship with God,
Mhm,
and I don't know how you would get through anything like that without His grace,
mhm,
because there's no way I did that on my own. I
right,
didn't. I did not. The second is I'm thankful for my body. My
yeah,
body is strong and it's capable and it's wonderful. And yes, I still have cellulite. They didn't take that away, but I it is it's I'm grateful for it.
mhm.
So
It's great.
those are my two huge things. Like
Yeah,
I no longer I try not to bash myself.
yeah.
This is my body. This is the body I was given and I love it.
Yeah, and you talked to or a little bit ago about finding grace for yourself in allowing other people to take care of you. I think it's finding grace for the fact of looking at the other side of the coin or the other side of the leaf. I mean, look, you have this beautiful vehicle to carry your soul through this life with, and this is a blip in your journey, and
Mhm.
you addressed it with this really great attitude, which is I think that's probably my biggest takeaway from talking to you today. And again, I know you as a person anyway, but that's really, really helpful. Always helpful to hear that someone chose that attitude that and that's a cliche thing, attitude of gratitude, but it applies here. You know, I'm
I know it seems like such a cliche to continuously say that, but it's true. I mean,
mhm,
just little acts of it change your world.
mhm,
They really
absolutely.
do.
Do you see changes in your family since all of this has gone on? Like, that have, like,
Um,
fallen from you to like, the apple falling off the tree kinda thing?
I I think I think we're still early in it. I'll
Mhm.
be honest. I think that sometimes my family, they still are probably processing it.
Oh, okay.
I don't I think that there's still a lot of processing going on. I mean, it's been less than a year since I've actually, you know, got the all clear.
Yeah.
So, I think that we're all still in the processing it from all angles. And I can't even speculate what their interpretation is, like how they felt. I know my boys, they don't share. They're not sharers.
Mhm.
My daughter, of course, was terrified. She admitted it. She's like, I'm not ready to lose my mom. And
Yeah.
so that being said, I would say that we try to be a little more patient with each other.
Yeah.
And, I think maybe what I'm seeing is that their bond has strengthened together because, the goal is that we're not here, they're together. So I'm
Yes.
thinking my children's bond should be stronger than and so I don't know. I'm not sure that was a great answer for your question. I'm
No,
sorry,
that's no,
but
no, 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 it's great. I think that's super valuable information too, because I think that's something that people wouldn't think about. They would think about what their connection to their family is, which is what I asked, but it doesn't that's not all that it is.
yeah,
Yeah, the bigger picture is that you have created this lovely family and you want them to be bonded together even when you're not able to be bonded with them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, what is one of the best pieces of advice that you could say to someone that either say they just got the diagnosis today, this week, last month, they're just new in it, or even to someone that's kind of in the thick of it, that's in the weeds of it, thinking, am I doing the right thing? What it could be more than one piece of advice. Anything that you have that you want to share.
Um, I think that my advice would be it's okay to take that moment and take a deep breath and
Mhm.
not make a decision on the fly and let process it. I mean, you there was no urgency on mine. I know unless you were having some serious emergency, there's you have a minute to take
Yeah.
a deep breath, process what's happening, understand. what your options are. And then you'll come out wiser and on the other end.
Yeah. I think that's super, super great because a lot of times we think our instinct is like you said earlier in the talk, you know, some people are like, I just want to get it out, just go
Mhm.
away, just want to move past this. And I understand that urgency
Mhm.
depending upon where the diagnosis is. Which is a
Mhm.
whole other situation for that's everybody's separate story. But knowing that, okay, I'm gonna pause, I'm gonna take a deep breath, and then I'm gonna carry on.
Yeah,
I mean, you do have time for at least that. Yeah.
you do. I feel like I learned that
Mhm.
fairly early on, that my best course of action was to take a minute, take a breath, process what's being said to me, because there's a lot of information that's being thrown your way,
Yeah.
and it's it is scary,
Yeah.
and you're not alone. My goodness. If you want a shoulder to cry on, there's always somebody there. I mean, I know everybody approached me and said, "Oh, I know so and so who, if you want to talk to them," and that's so kind, and
Mhm.
it does kind of ease your nerves a little bit. Even you presented something, and that actually calmed me down, because
Aw.
I felt like, okay, I can overcome this.
Yeah.
Other people have overcome it. I can do it too.
Yeah.
So it does help to hear situations and accept the love that people are giving.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I think a lot of people don't feel good doing that. Like, they just don't feel
Mhm.
comfortable doing that. So,
Mhm.
you had and this is I would consider this to be a life-altering situation for you. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
your car totally went to the left instead of to the right or straight ahead where you were intending it, right?
Yeah.
Like someone else was driving your car there for a bit.
Yeah.
Um, from all of that, what do you have a motto? Do you have a piece of saying, or do you have like a mantra in your head? That sounds like a corny cliche thing too, but like
Um,
if you had to choose what your life goal, life motto would be after going through all that.
oh, that's I I I don't know. I feel like I keep saying the same things over and over again, but I definitely would say, you know, get up from the fall down. You're going to be okay, and trust that things are taken out of your life and put back in different ways, and it's okay. God has you.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's how I'm trying to live my life now. Like, there's craziness going on all around us, whether it's personal to me or just life in general, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It
Absolutely.
may not, transition the way you want it to. I mean, but it's going to be okay.
Yeah. I think we all have expectations about how things should look, or or like someone else went through it. This is what it's
Mhm.
supposed to look like. But giving the roadmap, specific roadmap, and thinking that this is how it has to be kind of gets us stuck in
Stuck.
stuck in a
Yeah,
really yucky place.
I
Where are
agree.
you currently in your recovery? Like you said, you're a year in the clear right now?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay.
I am, I'm 100%. I mean, I have, an addition, but I am I'm 100% physically. I can do whatever I want to do, and mentally, I'm almost 100%. But it's I'll go I'll go back to the doctor. I guess it'll be in January for
Okay.
like 1 year.
Okay.
So
Were you getting checked regularly afterwards, like every month, every 3
yeah.
months? What was that
Oh,
protocol?
yeah. Well, because of the expanders and that process of, having the implants,
Mhm.
yes, I was in the doctor's office every 2 weeks at the plastic surgeons, and,
Yeah.
they were working on, getting me where I needed to be.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, I mean, that was quite a bit. And then I was every 3 months at the surgeon. They're just checking all the things. And then I didn't even throw in the oncologist. The oncologist is every 6 months. So
Yeah.
for now, I mean, I was at 3 months. Now I'm at 6 months. So I
Mhm.
feel like that's a win.
Yes. Oh, for sure. It just
Yeah.
sounds like you have a round robin of appointments that you were dealing with for a very long time.
Oh yeah, that was all consuming for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah. Um, where do you hope to be 10 years from now? So how old are you now? So it's like it's closing on retirement-ish age.
Yeah.
Where do you hope to be?
Oh my gosh, I hope to be traveling to foreign lands,
Okay.
Italy and anywhere else, and hopefully grandkids by then.
Yee! Oh, that'd be exciting.
I mean, I
Not
have an
yet,
older daughter. Not yet, not yet. 10
but by
years would be
10 years is good.
perfect.
10 years sounds great.
Yeah.
So just to wrap, I before we go, I want to do some fun little rapid fire questions with you just because I know this is a really deep subject for a lot of people that may be watching it. And I know it's a deep subject for you. I know we were tongue in cheek about it just because we know each other, but I do know that you take it very seriously and that you took it very seriously, and it's very much a part of your life that has not defined who you are, but has helped shape the person that you have become and the choices that you've made. So by no means are we making light of any of that for
No. Yeah.
anyone's journey
Yes.
at all.
Yeah.
But I do feel like, and again, you said it, it's that whole attitude and kind of how you present it. So I want to leave it with some lightheartedness and
Okay.
just a little bit of a banter back and forth. Okay, so this is gonna be funny. I did send you these questions, so I hope that you're kind of prepared. I was gonna throw a couple just random ones in there, but then I thought that's probably not a good idea. Probably not nice. Okay, so I'll start out with, what has been your favorite age so far?
Okay. 32
Oh,
because I know because
very
it's
specific.
you're very young
Okay.
and you're not stupid anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know, 32 was a good year. I think I had my last child. I was like life was like, "Oh, I'm so happy."
Okay.
Yeah.
32. I love the specific. Yes, it's 32.
32.
Okay, so finish this phrase. The way to my heart is blank.
Music.
Music. Okay.
Yes, I love
Favorite music?
music. Oh my gosh. I have an appreciation for all, but typically I go for kind of indie rock or
Okay.
melancholy. I mean, I'm like, if I'm not crying, is it worth it?
Okay, are we talking like you like to listen to it and jam on it in the car? Or do you like to go to
Yes.
concerts?
I
What's
all of it. Yes.
okay. Okay.
All of it.
Um,
Mhm.
would you rather travel to the past or the future?
The past,
Oh,
so I could go visit myself and give myself some words of wisdom.
right. Pep talk.
Yes.
Yes. Hey, this is what is yeah, this is what you
Yeah.
need to know.
Yeah.
Let it go. All that silly, crazy crap that we worried about when we were
I know.
16.
Oh my gosh. I know. If only.
Right. We could have that
If
back.
only.
Gosh, okay, and here's my last crazy one. What was your last Google search?
That was so funny because the second question, I was Googling who was playing at Ascend.
Okay. Who's the next concert I'm going to?
Well, let's see. I don't know. The ones I was interested in were Mount Joy, but
Okay.
I don't think they're coming till October, and Arctic Monkeys.
Oh, I've heard of them.
Yeah,
They're good.
that's good stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm sure there were a ton more artists that were so good, but those are the ones that stuck out to me. So
Okay. All right. Well, I'm wrapping this up. I'm so, so, so thankful that you gave this specific, like a large amount of time. We've been talking for a while. Thank you for that. I know your time is super valuable and I appreciate you sharing so vulnerably and so openly and so honestly with myself, with anyone else that may be watching this at a later date about your process and just laying it all out there. I think it's really, really a valuable thing to hear other people's stories because I feel like that's how we can potentially connect on the road of healing for ourselves personally, but
yeah,
also
mhm.
when you tell your story, it maybe heals another little piece of you too. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Thank you,
Yeah.
Dawn. I love you. Mwah.
I love you too. Thanks, Jennifer.
All right. Bye.